And so our veterinary medicine programs here, like I said, it's one application to apply to all of our universities. As I mentioned, we have 3 of them. It's totally free OzTREKK application. All of the universities are AVMA accredited, and there's no additional exams after graduation. So it really is a super easy process in terms of doing everything that you need to do, and there is still time. So why study in Australia? So obviously it's no secret, there are limited places at Canadian universities, especially for veterinary medicine. For many people, there's only one option, highly competitive. And all of our universities have a fantastic education. You get to see, especially for veterinary medicine, it's really unique because you get to see a lot of different animals that you might not get to study here in Canada. So that's also pretty cool. And as I mentioned, all of our schools are AVMA accredited, which means there is nothing additional that you have to do in order to practice in Canada. If you choose to come back, you obviously can practice in Australia as well. But there's nothing additional. You're writing the same NAVLE exam that you would if you graduated from the University of Guelph here. And yeah, it is obviously the whole lifestyle of Australia is amazing. Along the beach, imagine picking up your books and going down to the beach to study for your exams. Pretty spectacular in that respect. And also the application process is much simpler and much more straightforward than here in Canada as well. There's no interviews. It's a very smooth process. Not too many additional documentations that you need as well. It's a 4-year DVM. If you're graduating, if you're coming out of university as well. And there also is options right out of high school, which a lot of people don't know, that you can go into postgraduate programs straight after grade 12. And those are 5 to 6 year programs. So rather than doing a more traditional route, you can graduate and get started on your veterinary career that much sooner. So lots of different reasons why studying in Australia. It's a fabulous option. Even if you are applying in Canada, the application timeline is a little bit different, and our application is free. So there really is no harm in keeping your options open. And now we'll get into a little bit of the nitty-gritty here with the veterinary school. So as I mentioned, we do work with the top 3 veterinary schools in Australia. So the University of Queensland, the University of Sydney, and the University of Melbourne. The University of Queensland offers an undergraduate program. So it is a 5-year program. The University of Sydney actually offers both. They offer a DVM, a traditional 4-year DVM, and they also offer an undergraduate route that is 6 years. And then Melbourne offers a traditional 4-year DVM once you have your bachelor's. So a few different options for you. And again, there's different things about each school. Both are, like I said, the top 3 ranked veterinary medicine programs in Australia. So it's very clear that you're going to be getting a fabulous education, and you're going to be getting a degree that is both useful in Canada and Australia, and you're fully qualified to be a veterinarian. But also we want students to take a look at where might be the best fit for you. So Gatton is just about 45 minutes outside of Brisbane. So depending on what you're looking for in that area, the more north you go as well in the country, the hotter it is. I believe Queensland boasts something insane, like 325 days of sunshine a year or something crazy like that. Just a really beautiful location right on the coast there. Obviously beaches in all 3 areas. Sydney, obviously Sydney, and then Camden is about an hour outside of Sydney as well, where part of the program is. And obviously a bigger city, often compared to like Sydney and Melbourne, often compared to Toronto and Vancouver, in terms of just the lifestyle and everything like that, expenses, cost of living, things like that. And then Melbourne, and then Werribee. Werribee is about an hour outside of Melbourne as well, where part of the program is in your final years. So you get a mix of both worlds actually, in terms of city and a little bit more outskirts of the city, which is really nice. And the lower you go, so Melbourne and Sydney do have seasons. If that's something that you think you might miss about Canada, you're probably not going to get snow or anything like that, but there is a little more variation in the weather. So kind of just keeping that in mind and making sure that you're chatting with our admissions officers throughout the process and letting them know all of the things that are important to you when choosing your school and choosing where to apply to.